Good afternoon to you all. Uh, we were discussing for last couple of classes the recovery system, right? And there we have seen that uh, that the recovery mechanisms broadly can have two strategies. One strategy is to, excuse me, actually, please mute your microphones. Okay, I am getting feedback. All of you, please mute your microphones. So in recovery system, we have seen that the broadly recovery systems can be of two types. One is the log-based recovery mechanism, and another is shadow paging mechanism. Okay, and already we have completed the log-based recovery mechanisms. There we have discussed the immediate database modification policy using log-based protocol. Then we have discussed about deferred database modification policy using log-based protocol. Those things are over. Today we will be discussing about shadow paging. In the previous cases, like in log-based recovery mechanisms, as you have seen that they involve some undoing and redoing operations to be performed. In this, and that undoing and redoing operations may be often costly operations. So some modified policy is also suggested called the shadow paging. It does not require at all the undoing and redoing operations. Therefore, it is said to be, the shadow paging policy is said to be free from undo redo operations. Now, let us talk about shadow paging first. What is shadow paging? Shadow paging is an alternative to log-based recovery scheme that is very much useful if transaction executes serially. Idea for shadow paging here is to use two page tables during the lifetime of the transactions. The one page table is for the current, called the current page table, and another page table is called the shadow page table. I'll be going to show you the figure in the next slide. And it stores stored the shadow page table in a non-volatile storage. That shadow page table, as I mentioned, that there are two types of pages used for shadow paging based policy. One page is called the current page table and another page is called the shadow page table. The shadow paging policy actually stores the page tables in a non-volatile storage such that the state of the database prior to transaction execution may be recovered in case of the failure. Shadow page table is never modified during the execution of the transaction. So to start with, when the transaction is just started executing, both the page tables are identical. So only current page table is used for data item access during the execution of the transaction, and shadow page is only kept for record keeping. I'll be coming to that. Whenever any page is about to be written for the first time, a copy of that page is made onto a unused page. The current page table is then made to point the copy of that. The update is performed on that particular copy. Let's say this is our page table. Okay, and that is actually referring to that is pointing to some pages on the disk. Disk is located in the hard disk or stable storage. Okay, so that is basically the database, and page table is stored into the main memory, okay, or volatile memory. So now whenever some thing is to be written, that is being written in the current page table, and that is pointing towards the shadow page table through the page on disk, and therefore it will have the last modified copy. Means whenever you are writing on the current page table, that is not reflected to the shadow page table immediately. As long as the execution is going on, that current page table is only being written. Shadow page table will hold the previous copy of that. Okay. So in case of the failure, so database will only consider the shadow page table to retrieve it into its previous consistent state. Therefore, as you can see that here no redoing undoing operation is required, because the current page table only holds the current executions, and that is being reflected to the disk, and that is being copied to the shadow page table. Okay, means shadow page table is being flashed often. Means once the transaction is over, that is being reflected to the disk, and from there the shadow page table is also updated. Okay, so in case of the failure, let's say current page table is being updated, so therefore what will happen, that may not reflect, that updation may not be reflected to the database. So then what will happen, then to make the database into its previous consistent state, the database will consult the shadow page which is having the previous consistent copy of the database, and will update the page on the disk, and that means in the stable storage, with the previous copy of the data items which are there in the shadow page table. And by that way, this shadow paging technique works. Is it clear to you all? Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
It's so clear.
Okay. So that is actually the policy of the shadow page table. Now, to commit a transaction, flash all modified pages in the main memory or disk, that means which is residing currently in the current page table, and output to the current page table to disk. Means once the transaction is over, flash the current page table to reflect the data into stable storage. Now make the current page table the new shadow page table. That means whatever data is being written onto the disk, that is being pointed out by the current page table to the shadow page table. Okay, that means the current page table is now being pointed out to the shadow page table. Therefore, shadow page table will have the copy of the current page table now. Once the pointer to a shadow page table has been written, transaction is committed. That means for writing operation, for transaction when it is in execution, writing operation is first done in the current page table, and once the transaction is over, that means commit is done, that current page table is being pointed out to the shadow page table, and before that the current page table will be flashed to the stable storage. Is it clear? Current page table will be flashed to the stable storage, such that stable storage, that means the database will have the present value of the current page table into the disk, means in the stable storage, and the pointer will be redirected to the shadow page table, such that the present value of the current page table also will be reflected to the shadow page table. That means now the shadow page table will have the value of the same value as that of the current page table. Now in case of the failure, suppose a transaction has updated the current page table, and after that, before it has reflected to the database by performing the flash operation of the current page table to reflect that changes into the database, the crashes occur. Then the updated value of the transaction will not be reflected to the database, but database can be made to its previous consistent state by consulting the shadow page table from its pointer, as I have already discussed. So here, as you can see, that no recovery mechanisms are no recovery mechanism in terms of undoing redoing operation are required, because that is being taken care of the shadow page. Okay. Pages not pointed to from current or shadow page table should be freed. Means the pages which are not pointed from the current or shadow page table should be freed. That means the memory location, those pages should be freed such that the garbage collections can be done. Advantages of this shadow paging policy over log-based scheme is that no overheads for lighting log records. So here log records are no more required, okay, because that is also being taken care of the shadow pages, and recovery is trivial. No redoing, undoing operation is required here in this case. Okay, but there are some disadvantages also. What are the disadvantages of this shadow paging based policy? The copying the entire shadow page into the stable storage will be difficult in case of the failure. Copying the entire shadow page data to the stable storage will be difficult, computationally costly operation. Another is that flashing every time the current page table to the stable storage also becomes difficult or time consuming. Okay, these two limitations are there, and this can be reduced by using the page table structured like B plus tree. So no need to copy the entire tree, only need to copy the paths in the tree that lead to the updated leaf nodes. So entire current page table is not required to be copied to the database, only the updated leaf nodes to be copied into the stable storage, that is in the database. That means the whatever database was not being changed, whatever data is not being changed, will keep that intact. Only the updated values will be kept in the leaf nodes of the B plus tree, and that leaf nodes only will be copied to the stable storage by the flash operation of the current page tables to stable storage. Now commit overhead is high even with above extension. So need to flash every updated page and page table. As you can understand that every time some updation operation is being performed by some transactions on the current page table, that needs to be flashed to the stable storage, and that is the overhead of the execution. Data gets fragmented, okay, because it may not be contiguous memory location, that memory location may not be free all the time, okay. So because it is using the page concept, and page, if it is not freed, the contiguous data may not be written contiguously in the memory location, okay. So therefore, suppose in an array, contiguous elements are there, but they may not be saved into the database in contiguous memory location, because there may be some unoccupied, the occupied space in the memory. After every transaction completion, database pages containing old versions of modified data need to be garbage collected. Okay, so hard to extend algorithms to allow transactions to run concurrently. So for concurrent executions of the transaction, it is difficult to fit it into this framework, shadow paging framework. So easier to extend it in the log-based scheme. So whereas in the log-based scheme, it is easier to fit the concurrently executing transactions in the log-based, using log-based policy. Okay, so both the policies, as we have seen, that log-based mechanism and the shadow paging mechanism both have some disadvantages and some advantages. The disadvantages of the log-based policy was that it involves a lot of undoing and redoing operations. And another disadvantage of the log-based policy was that sometimes log record itself becomes lengthy. So to hold the log record in the storage, in the memory, that becomes costly in terms of the space requirement, and also the searching time of the log also may be high if the log record goes high. So these were the limitations of the log-based recovery mechanisms. That disadvantages or limitations are overcome by the shadow paging techniques, by using the shadow page and current page concept. But again, it has some limitations, like every time the transaction executes and writes some value into the current page, that needs to be reflected to the stable storage by performing the flash operation, and that becomes computationally costly operations. And shadow page also needs to be copied to the database in case of the failure. And every time the transaction commits, after that flash operation of the current page is being done, as well as the current page table is being pointed to the shadow page, so that shadow page gets the copy of it. So that operation also can be computationally costly, and that can increase the overhead of the overall system. So these are the pros and cons of these both systems we already discussed. Now we'll be talking about the recovery with concurrent transactions. Okay. So far we have discussed, if you can correctly recall, that we talked about, just a minute. That we look at the log-based recovery mechanisms. The inherent assumption was that the transactions occur serially. That was the inherent assumption, and with that we have made the algorithms. Now, what will happen if the transactions are not serial in order, but they are concurrently executing in the system? Therefore, just a minute, let me insert my charger. Laptop is going out of charge. Okay. Sorry. Now, for concurrently executing such transactions, what modification we need to do? We will discuss that now. So, we modify the log-based recovery schemes to allow the multiple transactions to execute concurrently. All transactions share a single disk buffer and a single log file. Okay. So all transactions share a single disk buffer and a single log. Log is a single log. On a single log, we will perform. A buffer block can have data items updated by one or more transactions. A buffer block can have data items updated by one or more transactions. We assume that concurrency control using strict two-phase locking protocol is done. That is, the updates uncommitted transactions should not be visible to other transactions. That means the transactions which are uncommitted should not be visible to the other transactions. Logging mechanism is done as described earlier. Means log records of different transactions may be interspersed in the log. The checkpointing technique and the actions taken on recovery have to be changed, since several transactions may be active when checkpoint is performed. So now, how we can do that? Let's consider we are using a single log file, okay, and a checkpoint. So in the checkpoints are performed as before, except that in the checkpoint, in case of the log-based recovery, as you can remember, the checkpoint is done, checkpoint start is done only by giving the command checkpoint, right? Checkpoint followed by the transaction name, right? Now here what will be there? Checkpoint L will be there, checkpoint L. L is the list of the active transaction at that moment in the system. Means L holds the list, complete list of all the active transactions at that moment. Okay. Suppose I'm just trying to draw one figure. You can understand from there. Suppose these are my active transactions at this moment. Okay. And let's say this is a timeline. Okay. And if this is the let's say this is the checkpointing time. That means at this point checkpoint operation has started. Okay. Suppose these are the transactions. Let's say T1, this is T2, let's say this is T3. Now when the checkpoint operation is on, at that moment which transactions are active? Which transactions are active? When the transaction, I mean the checkpoint operation is on, has started, at that moment which transactions are active? T1 and T2. T1 and T2, and at that time T3 has not yet started, right? Isn't it? Therefore, in the list L, what value will be there? List L will have the values T1 and T2 only, right? These are my active transactions at that point when the checkpoint operation is on, right? When L is the list of the transactions active at the time of the checkpoint, we assume that no updates are in progress. Means no update to the database is in progress while the checkpoint is carried out. Means checkpoint operation has started here, and like let's say for example here the system crashed. At this point system crashed. Okay. Checkpoint time, and this is our let's say at this point system fails. Okay. System fail occur at this point. So we have to decide on that. So at that point in checkpoint L, the active transactions T1 and T2 will be stored. When the system, we assume that no updates are in progress while the checkpoint operation is carried out. When the system recovers from a crash, it first does the following. So it will, what it will do? It will initialize two lists. Two lists it will initialize. One list will be undo list. In the undo list, and another list will be redo list. Means which transaction needs to be undone and which transaction needs to be redone. Okay. So now scan the log backward from the system failure point. So we will scan the log record backward, in this direction. We'll scan backward. We'll scan the system backward. We'll scan the system backward, and when the system recovers from a crash, it first does the following. As I mentioned, it will create an undo list and redo list to empty first. First of all, undo and redo list will be empty. Okay, undo and redo list will be empty initially. So I have 10 minutes left. Undo and redo list is empty initially. Then scan the log backward from the failure point to the checkpoint time. So it will scan backward in the reverse direction. For each record, if it is found during the backward scan that TI commit is present, if TI commit is present, then add that into the undo list. In the redo list. If it is found, so at this point system fails. That means what is that failure point? This is the failure point, right? This is the failure point. And at this point we will scan backward the checkpoint. And if we find that some transaction has committed, here you can see T1 and T2 are committed. So in the undo list, that will be added up. So undo list was initially empty. Now it will be filled up with the transactions T1 and T2. Why? Because those transactions have already completed before the system fails. Therefore, that will be placed in the redo list, because already those transactions has committed, and whatever changes it made to the data item is successfully performed into the data item which is residing in the main memory. Therefore, that needs to be reflected to the stable storage. Therefore, those transactions needs to be redone to reflect that change into the stable storage. Therefore, this transaction T1 and T2 both are having commit operation, because if we start scanning backward the list from the failure point till checkpoint operation starts, if we find that there are some commit operations of the transactions, those transactions will be added to the redo list. First thing. So that is what is written here. That is written in the first point. So if the transaction is committed, add it to the redo list. Okay. In the next, if the record is TI start, and if that is not present in the redo list, then what you need to do? Then you add it into the undo list. That means suppose here you can see the transaction T3 has started. That means T3 start is present, but T3 commit is not there. From the failure point, if you scan back, you will not find the T3 commit statement in the log record. Therefore, you find that T3 start is present, but T3 commit is not present. Okay. And also T3 is not present in the redo list. Therefore, T3 will be added up in the undo list. So, undo list was initially empty, which will be filled up by will be filled up by transaction T3, because T3 has started its operation but has not completed its job before the system crashes. Therefore, it will be added up into the T3. Okay. Now, in the third point, what will be there? In the third point, for every transaction in the list, for every transaction Ti in the list, L, T1, T2 in the list, if Ti, the transaction Ti is not in the redo list, if it is not in the redo list, then add it to the undo list. Add it to the undo list. Okay. That means what? What kind of operation it can be? What kind of transaction it can be? Can anybody suggest me? When it can be? How the third point will be in the figure wise? Suppose a transaction is like this. Okay, like this. For example, it is T4 transaction. What is this transaction? T4. As you can see, this T4 transaction, for this T4 transaction, observe it minutely. Okay, observe it minutely. For the transaction T4, what you can see from the transaction T4? Does it satisfy the second case? Second case A, second case B? Just observe. First of all, whether T4 should be in the list of L? Should it be in the list? Please respond. Please respond. Should it be in the list? L? What is L basically? L are the active transactions at the point of checkpoint start. So at the point of checkpoint, at this point, which transactions are active? The active transactions are T1, active transactions are T2,
Yes.
and T4, right? So T4 also is there, isn't it? Because at this point, which transactions are active? T1, T2, T4. Let me draw another transaction. Let's say this is another transaction. Let me name also. Please, everybody, don't off your video. Let's see. Let us consider that this is T5 transaction. Transaction T5. Should it be in the active list of the L?
No.
Should it be? Why not?
No.
Why not? Because when the transaction checkpoint has started, before the T5 has finished its operation. So T5 has committed already. T5 is not a active transaction, not an active transaction. Therefore, T5 will not be in the list. In the list, only T1, T4, and T2 and T4 will be there. T1, T2, and T4 will be there, right? Even T3 also will not be there. T3 also will not be there. Why? T3 also will not be there. Why? Because T3 that time was not active, has not started at that time. Therefore, T3 also will not be there. So now, according to this problem, that redo list is T1 and T2. Now undo list is undo list. If the record finds that Ti commit is present, if we scan back from the failure point till the checkpoint, if we find that some transaction is having the Ti commit, then those transactions needs to be redone. So that means that should be placed in the redo list. So here, which transaction is satisfying that criteria? T1 and T2 is satisfying this criteria because if you scan backward from the failure point, this was my failure point, right?
Yes, sir.
This was my failure point. From the failure point, if you go back, if you scan backward, then you will find that T1 and T2 has commit statement before you reach to the checkpoint. So therefore, it will be placed into the redo list. And now, according to the second criteria, if the record Ti start is present, but that is not present in the undo list, that means here in this case, T3, For the transaction T3, you can see that TI start is there, but TI commit is not there, right? TI has committed afterwards, after failure, right? So therefore, T3 has committed, but it has not, T3 has started, but not committed before the system fails. Therefore, it will not be in the redo list. So it will be placed in the undo list. Now, third criteria, for every transaction TI in L means the list of the active transactions. From the list of the active transactions, if we find that any transaction is not in the redo list, if any transaction is found to be not in the redo list, then it will be placed into the undo list. So here, out of these active transactions T1, T2, T4, what we find that T1, T2